What's up guys, it's Talon here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how you can improve your W keying skills by analyzing one of EU's best W keyers, and that is Vadeal. But before I get into this VOD review guys, if you do enjoy my content or find what I'm telling you helpful, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. Also, if you wish to support me in another way, use code TALON.FN in the Fortnite item shop, #ad. But without further ado, let's just jump right in. Alright guys, as you can see on the screen, we have Vadeal's POV. This is going to be a 20 plus kill victory royale analysis, and then it's going to be around an 18 kill victory royale analysis. So a lot of engagements to go over. This is a little bit weird of a start, but he was AFK, and a stream sniper comes in and gives up some loot. Let's just jump right in. First kill is going to be a free, basically handout from a stream sniper, and then we're going to get the W King on. Believer beach area, no surprise here. He's going to land there in the second game as well. Now, this is one angle that can definitely get you in trouble. You have to be aware of this. When you are on a side ramp, you can get coned off super easily. It almost cuts you off instantly. That's actually what ends up happening. You see Vadeal tries to get out there. He doesn't get there, but excellent crosshair placement allows him to be able to get that crack. Unfortunately, the kill is going to get stolen. He full boxes, 161 resets, and takes the 50-50 because he has a significant amount of pre-fight damage. He feels comfortable that he's not going to get 200 pump, even with just a green pump. So he goes over to Believer to continue the W King Fest by the gold or purple spaz. Now this ramp edit is what I'm going to be talking about. I've talked about the Noah Riley Vadeal. I've talked about it in significance. This is kind of a newer, advanced peak. When it comes to editing, it's editing the ramp to the side, and the reason why is once you get right here, you do a significant crack amount of damage. Usually what ends up happening is this kind of protects your head, especially if the opponent's out here, but this ramp makes it harder visually if you're underneath it to see, and as you can see, kind of Vadeal's head is equal to this ramp, which gives him kind of a protected peak. It's fantastic when people are doing it on your wall. If they're right on your wall, they can't really shoot you in the head. You still have that angle, so you can. Most people setting up on here are going to be a little bit more in trouble, so it's just a good peak to learn for your particular gameplay when you're playing, because it is very advantageous. Vadeal's VOD reviews just go super fast. His editor just gets right in the fights. Fantastic. Recognize, notice that crosshair placement right there. I'm not going to slow it back down, but notice that crosshair sitting on that opponent waiting for something to happen. Obviously nothing does. Getting sprayed through right here. And you're going to see the chug cannon throughout both VOD reviews. Probably the most strong thing this season in terms of biggest change. Look at that crosshair placement. Fantastic getting the cone slide right there. But the crosshair placement is fantastic. Always having it on his opponents in case they make an edit on him. 22. Reload management. This is also going to be a good VOD review on reload management and the importance. You'll notice right here again, crosshair placement coming in clutch. Notice as the opponent has the wall, that he's shambles, he's running away, he's panicked. All you need to do in most of those situations is make sure you have good crosshair placement. The opponent edits out. You get a free elimination. Sorry guys, there was an ad. Let's continue. Now we're going to see him take this porta potty into Boney. Gets a nice little box. Huge crack right here, and he sees this opponent third party. Gets a cone, or gets the opponent. He tries to get a cone off right there, but the opponent actually just ends up his own stair. So he jumps to the side under free elimination. You see the use of the slurp cannon. Now, fighting around trees is always frustrating and annoying. This opponent's kind of running for his life, not effectively building, I would say. And Vadeal actually has the back wall, gets a free elimination. Not much to talk to. Jump into another fight. Fantastic cone. Notice this time, instead of sitting there slapping that wall like he did on the second engagement that he got into, he jumps up out and away. And it's much better, much more optimal, prevents him from getting coned. He's only done a little bit of pre-fight damage as well, and they're in a later portion of the game. And the opponent has chug cannon. Opponent runs out. Now he's trying to get the ramp right in right here. Now this is one of the things I always want to talk about in terms of bad edits. This is always a bad edit, and you can see even when you get a little bit overconfident is why this is a bad edit. One, it's a left-hand peek. Two, he's editing, I believe, top to down right here. So notice how he edits top to down right here, and he has to raise his crosshair back up to make a play. He gets a good 100 crack, but a more optimal edit, even though this is a left-hand peek, which isn't that good to begin with, but if you go from bottom to up, this allows your crosshair to be at that midline level. but he gets a return damage for a significant amount of damage, and that's because it's a left-hand peek. Now, Vadeal does an excellent job of recovering here. One, by baiting his heals. He has Chug Cannon, so he shoots off a Chug Cannon and you think he's going to heal. Well, Vadeal actually still has that wall, and so what he smartly does is he shoots it, realizes that the cone is 1 HP, and so he just gets a simple spray through. And the opponent is sitting there fumbling with his builds, and he gets a nice free elimination. Good box right here. See, much better peek, right-hand peek, and notice the return damage, 145, and he only takes 52. You need to win your trades, and that's a very good example of winning the trades. He falls down, now immediately recognizes that that was a way for the opponent to escape, and he blocks it off. The opponent's still trying to be in build mode, free elimination. Just good game sense right here. Now you see right there, good crosshair placement, pump just didn't shoot. Gets a nice 45, and then immediately edits through trying to get out, creates an escape route. Gets it one time, much more optimal edit. Back wall cones, fantastic. Now, immediately, you saw him get cracked there. It was one of those weird situations where it's an exact even trade where Siphon doesn't come in. He's at 100 HP, and I'm just going to comment on what he does right here. Immediately uses all those mats to create a ton of space so he can get heals off. Now, we don't get to see what ends up actually happening after that, but just a small thing to take into consideration. Getting cracked, especially after you get an elimination, do not be afraid to use your mats and extend a lot of space and get those heals off. He has Chug Cannon, and this is, again, Chug Cannon is fantastic. It helps you, when you get whites, you always want to be usually pump AR, and in this case, it's going to be a little bit interesting of a more VOD review because we're going to get to see the rapid fire SMG, which is this season's most underrated gun. It has insane fire rate, insane bleed through damage, and if you are a W King like this, it's a fantastic weapon if you're playing tons and tons of aggressive fights box to box as opposed to carrying an AR. The only thing that really is tough with it is reload management. If you're intelligent with your reload management, this is definitely a weapon you should use in your repertoire. Now we see this opponent who's built out. He's dropped 35 right here. Fantastic, gets the wall, doesn't get it, cones off. Now this opponent's going to continue to try, run away. See a little bit of scuffing mechanics. Goes right here, jumps to the side. Gets a huge crack. I'm seeing even with a little bit of the bullets he had there left, he fried off shield. Now the opponent gets the front side of the wall. You see him switch to not his weapon. And this is really, really good edit right here. Clicks peek. Now just a little bit bad at aim. Video gets kind of cracked right there. But again, this is why the Chug Cannon could be so clutch. Gets you those little whites that you need. The opponent pads away, and he's so weak he dies to one tap. Flies in. Fantastic mechanics. Now this edit is really only optimally, this is what I want to talk about this, because in this situation it doesn't really matter because he's on an ultimate low layer. But I'm going to talk about if you make this 3-tile edit, the best way to make a 3-tile edit is, this is exactly what I want you to do. You come in here, you edit through, you get a nice little crack. Make this 3-tile. Not only is Vadeal on a stair, and he's on a layer where the walls aren't fully built from the ground, so he's not protecting when he does this, but immediately after the 3-tile edit, you can see that it's muscle memory. Right here to do this. Is immediately duck through and wait to get your shotgun out. And he does it right there. It's great muscle memory to practice, especially when you're on a cone. You play on the backside of a cone. It's just good to always do that. In this situation, probably wouldn't matter as much just because he would have gotten traded if the opponent was expecting anyways, just because of the layer he's on. But that muscle memory is something that needs to be incorporated into your gameplay when you're doing that particular peak. 13 eliminations. Going on forward. Good, gets that cone in there, makes it a little bit scuffed, and you see just how it absolutely lasers. Gets through, finishes. This is the best bleed through damage in the game just due to the fire rate. Smart. Now, we don't know whether Vadeal knew that, but it's always safe if you're going to smack on cones on people that are boxed up. Always make sure you pickaxe bait because you never know if someone's lurking inside. Hits a 170 crack, and then just... What is so good about the rapid fire is it finishes fights insanely fast. And then you get bleed through damage like that. Good recognition. Now you're going to see just a little minor thing I want to talk about. So he's getting pressure, this guy's getting pressure from the front, and then he gets pressured from the side. And then immediately you'll see the difference. Notice how he's up here. Make sure that he kind of covers off all his angles. You notice he has an opponent here. He doesn't jump laterally. He keeps kind of, he sees that there's built to his left, and he knows that this opponent is between him and the one that's been spraying him from front, that in for a little shield. So reload management right there, again, another important thing with rapid fire. Reload management and spray through. He's gifted a SPAD because of that. And look at that, fantastic. That's just very, very good aim. Gets it? And that's what I'm talking about. You do that 3-tile edit, and you miss a shot, you don't use that movement. And again, it's on ultimate low layer, so it wouldn't matter so much. But notice how he misses the shot. Oh, he actually only hit for a 32, just not as good. But doesn't crouch, doesn't get that little delay. He's also building on wood, and he's consistently getting fried. And he even continues to go forward. Now with Chug Cannon, it wouldn't hurt probably just to hit 4 quickly, but felt confident he could finish that fight. So we decided to take that. 40, and then he's going to immediately box up, kind of reset his fight. Tries to full box, try to get that front wall, doesn't get it. 98 cracked with a very good peek. The opponent pads away. Now this is again just obviously going to be a downfall. You have someone that pads away. You're not going to hit him for a lot. But if you're W King, you're more than likely going to have pads. Vadeal does. You see him get... Notice again here, this is such a minor thing, but people sometimes forget the kind of importance of this. You see him get fried right here? Now, like, it makes sense in your head. It's like, oh, of course he goes to the left side. I know a lot of times Mike can play. I don't think like this. If you're not thinking like this, you need to think. The opponent's getting pressured for here. Okay, it's like, what's worse? We want the opponent, so what if he steals the kill, right? We want to not get fried and not make this engagement any harder, so what do? We go to the left. We put the opponent between us and the third party. And that's exactly what ends up happening. He puts him through, he makes sure he covers off a wall in front, and he's continuing to hold, because the opponent's going to stop pressuring. He's probably gotten that white shield crack tags, and then he sees you, the opponent, he doesn't get the kill. It's like, oh, it's probably a guy I just fried, and pressure stops. Same exact thing you're going to see here. He sees it's a wood cone. Nearly gets trapped with a double swing. Really good. And I'm going to just talk about it again. Better player who hits a better shot could have been over. Double swing is very good. If the opponent's super weak, doing it on new builds is definitely a little bit sketchy. So you notice he gets that cone instantly, doesn't think he's in there. And now he gets a double swing. The opponent actually times it beautifully, right? This opponent has a 3 headshot on Vadeal. But such good quick mechanics to reset, and then misses a shot and immediately recognizes I need to switch back to my pump. Good crosshair placement. A better opponent actually would beat Vadeal in that situation, but it doesn't happen. But I'm just saying, just be careful when you're swinging on new builds, especially where you don't know who the opponent is, not to double swing. Good little cone placement. Very popular calc slight. Gets double edit. Now, cracked 189. Fantastic crosshair placement. What I see a lot of the time, when you do that particular edit, you'll end up just kind of being even a 50-50, even if you have advantage. My personal preference is to stay up above, but you're Vadeal, you're confident in your aim, you're a professional Fortnite player, you know that you're better than everyone that you're facing in an arena game, and you get a 189 crack dead. And now we're going to go into game 2, where it's actually more traditional land on Believer Beach. It's unfortunate for that guy.
Are you fucking high, mate?
Gets a free elimination off spawn. Good job getting that front wall. A little bit awkward, but finally gets a shotgun. He could drop a pulse rifle. Now this is really good. Now he's going to actually get some return damage right there because he phased the ramp. But good crosshair placement, piece control. Gets that cone off. Absolutely fantastic job. This is just a good example of just one piece control, but angles, right? So we'll replay this little situation where he's out RNG'd. He's facing a pump off spawn. 21. This cone right here is important. He realizes he's phasing through, so he goes for it. But what ends up happening, he goes for both cones. It gets him return. But he finishes that off. But let's talk about just this in general. So he jumps through 21. And now this little jump right here. Notice that crosshair placement with that cone. It keeps that opponent right there. He goes for that. Doesn't realize it's optimal 50. Now tries to get it right here. Now he edits through. Notice now he sees that the opponent has a way to get out, so he blocks off that back wall, and the opponent runs through, edits his own, and it's just one bad opponent. But good thing he just cuts off all angles to make it to where he's at advantage in that fight. And that cone right there, keep him on the same layer, ended that fight quickly, which is again the main portion of W King. Gonna get an easy fry right here. Kind of take a little bloom battle, has no shield.
Oh my god, Digga, ich hab 3000.
Sorry guys, there was an ad. Let's continue. Spraying through right here. Pickaxe bait, and then just kind of same thing, right? We talked about how this edit is very, very protectful. And so why do you think he makes it in that situation? He has no shield, he has no mats, he has to get in. So, let's be smart and educated. So one pickaxe bait, we want the opponent to edit on us, which doesn't happen. We kind of just Mongol classic right here, but it's a little bit of a variation. Usually you're using to edit the front, but he jumps to the side and look at this opponent's POV of Vadeal on this particular peak. Vadeal just going to get a free body shot off, and he's shambles, right? It's like the only play to make, but it's still intelligent. He's sitting there with his face protected by this particular stare edit, and this opponent's entire body is exposed. And it's an edit you're not usually expected to make. This opponent just sit there just kind of lost, and he has his wall pressure by someone else. He's just in a bad situation. Vadeal capitalizes, gets the at least minimal refresh, and he gets a free 50 pot. So important. Yep, he gets what's Siphon Mats. That's why he was able to meet your classic in. Gets a tag on this opponent, and this is how Believer Beach is.
Scheiße, Digga. Du hast mir zero Damage gemacht, also du bist ja so Dogwater. Holy shit, Zero Dogwater, Dogshit Kid, lol.
That was pretty funny.
Nice, hab keine Mats mehr.
No mats again. What a fantastic peak in Peace Control. Peace controlled him so hard he had him stuck. And he gets a little minimal refresh. He's doing this with very limited resources. He says he has no mats. Notice crosshair placement again. Now, good attempt right here. This opponent's just kind of squeaking out. Very fortunate to not get tagged there. Better shot from the opponent. Gets him tagged. Fantastic gets their boxes. And notice, so here, this is a left-hand peek, but it's really the only play. But if you play it intelligently, you could still make it to your advantage. So what am I talking about? What am I discussing here? This is a left-hand peek, just by nature. But what he ends up doing that makes it a little bit better is he's stagnant, actually. This is just game sense. He full boxes here. Now, the only way he shoots this opponent, not only, he's under his own stairs, so it's not like he can shoot through, reset the wall, and make correct or better peaks. What ends up happening is he realizes he has a wall. He edits a left-hand peak, right? Because it's really his only play because of this ramp. But he cracks. He doesn't go in and psycho. What he ends up doing is he lets the opponent, who's been cracked significantly compared to Vadeal, who is 100 or 200 HP, basically let the opponent run through because he's full peace control. That's his only play. He doesn't run in there willy-nilly. He lets the opponent come to him and make it more of a 50-50 as opposed to just an unoptimal peak where he has to hit a jump left-hand peak in a game based on right-hand peak. So just something, again, little minute detail that Vadeal does right there, incredibly important. Now, 105, and what I'm going to talk about here is just the use of the ramp. Just notice how he sits there and kind of waits to make the ramp edit till the opponent just picks his side, and then once he goes to that side, which again preferred is the right side, you want that ramp to be on protected on the left hand, on a right hand peak, and he just waits there and boom, fantastic. He's got a Mitro Classic in right there with a ramp phase, jumps in, gets the quick finish.
Ja, echt viel gebracht, Alter.
He still is a little bit lacking on mats. For how many kills he has? 11.
Hurensohn.
Now the opponent. This is a good important fast. I saw this in the clicks VOD review from the beginning of this season as well. This is a very good thing you can do. So you see this opponent's full box. Now this edit right here, what this does, this is a bait edit. This is a bait edit. Now this opponent is swinging his pickaxes was even better, but what ends up happening is this opponent has to react to that. Even with him scuffing his mechanics, now we can jump to a right-hand peak. And because we've already edited this, we have a significant wide just berth to work with. And our opponent is most likely going to be focused on this edit. With us having this both wall, we get to a right-hand peak, and then this opponent is just basically cooked. So just again, it's just kind of a bait edit with a left-hand peak, move over to the wall you control on the other side and get a right-hand peak. You see some launchpad gameplay. Spraying through, 189 max damage, kill the opponent instantly, not much to say. Right hand peak, 32. And then we said importance of chug cannon. Notice we miss a pump shot and it gets a better player, that's going to result in our death. 100 crack. And it's kind of the same thing. You know, we were talking about that 3 tile. Like, we don't crouch here, and every one of these, of course, have been on ultimate low ground to where the crouching that actually doesn't help you that much because the box isn't tall. But we make 3 tile, We want then scuff again, but at least we move a little bit closer, right? Look, our head is still minimally exposed. And then we move back up, letting our gun pull out. And that's essentially just to let your gun pull out, right? You have to switch from your edit to your actual shotgun. So that's just movement to maximize a peak. Because it's a pretty open, wide peak. It's something I'd recommend making when you're at significant health advantage. But you can do it also when you're low, or what's more of a 50-50 if you have, again, excellent movement. Now this is a technique to use. This is an excellent W keying to go from elevation to de-elevation. And you take no fall damage, and you could just jump down on opponents who are lower than you. Hits the full box. Blocks up that particular angle. Now this is definitely a misplay, but bailed out by aim. So, what am I talking about? So this is a good technique. He doesn't hit the shot. He hits it for only 52. He has a full box right here. He gets the wall, but unfortunately misses the shot just a little bit too low, and then he makes sure to cut his opponent off. Now this is something where if you are not careful, because he didn't get the floor cone, he only placed a cone, the opponent actually gets a floor, and unfortunately for Vadeal, he actually switches to his pickaxe to break it, to get in, and the opponent actually reads that pretty well. Crack for 118. Fortunately, good aim bails him out there, but again, could have a better opponent, just 2 tacks. And getting in, again, against attack is sometimes problematic if you don't hit that pump shot. You're somewhat good aim. It's 126, 126. You're dead before you can get 2 shots off with the pump. But good thing to take away from that launch pad technique. We're actually going to get to see it again. I'm pretty sure. Gets the front wall. Make sure he boxes off cone. Fantastic. Piece control. Not much to say. I think he does a regular launch pad, then he does him yelling him yelling in German. Okay, so what he does there is you do a ramp, and it looks like 2 flats, and it's just gonna get you right there. Now he actually loses the trade, doesn't hit the shot. Notice right there, if you're in that situation where you're underneath your ramp, like Vadeal was right there, and you got an opponent right here, you put your own ramp and you just kind of scuff yourself, shoot. Because if the opponent makes the edit, at the very least, you're going to maybe get a first shot off with a trade. But if not, and he sits there and waits, the opponent's going to probably be a little bit scared, and make sure you get out to your exit path, which is exactly what Vadeal does. And then chug cannon is so important. It's an infinite white heals and it's infinite big pots. Something got to be carrying if you get guaranteed. Pump AR or pump SMG. Gets double edits right there, covers the back wall. That edit was fantastic. He absolutely rolls this guy. I went back a little too far. Right here. So he shoots through the ramp, and instead of editing through the ramp, what does he do? He goes to an escape route to create right-hand peek. Notice how he then edits through. Look how protected this is. I'm going to play this in slow motion because it's a fantastic angle. Vadeal is one of the best, has some of the best angles when it comes to optimizing peaks. Now, he has front wall, but this is fantastic to me. He literally sprays through, gets control of the ramp, he edits through, puts the opponent underneath. Now look, now we're on a right-hand peak. We get a massive 108 crack. And then we get full piece control on the opponent, end the fight, GG's. Literally 2 fantastic games coming out from Vadeal, a 20 bomb and then a near 20 bomb. Vadeal, obviously one of the best W keyers, but we saw some of the little minute details that makes him elite, maximizing movement with his peaks. We saw that with the 3-tile edit. We saw consistent understanding of escape routes. We saw obvious crosshair placement throughout. We saw effective ways to launch pad onto people towards the end. It's just a bundle of fantastic stuff that you can implement in your gameplay and improve your W keying. And Vadeal, Noah Riley, all those guys in EU that are fantastic W keyers all do this. So again, take these skills and implement them into your gameplay. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, guys. If you did, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. And I hope I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.